Kids, gather round. We need to talk about something important. Some people say you shouldn't be hearing this until you're older, but I don't like to keep people ignorant. I think the sooner the better. You see, when a man loves a corpse very much, he'll want to—
Please stop.
Why? What's the matter?
Everyone knows what necrophilia is. You don't have to explain it.
Oh, you sure? I had a bunch of note cards prepared and I even had some diagrams.
No one wants it.
Oh. Okay. When you think of the lovely state of Florida, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Amusement parks? Sunny weather? Spring break? The odd frequency of batch news stories? Ah yes, the tales of the elusive Florida man. On the surface, this story isn't much different than the usual strangeness you hear coming out of the state of Florida. If it were a news headline today, it'd be something along the lines of Florida man discovered living with a corpse for 7 years. You know, typical stuff. But diving deeper, most people find that the events that transpired were so bizarre, Florida and the entire country with it were left terrified. And that's saying a lot. Floridians have seen a lot of shit. I'm Vibby, and on this episode of A Space Alien Explains, Carl Tanzler and Elena Milagro de Hoyos. Yes, friends, today's tale is a love story. Is it a better love story than Twilight? I wouldn't be so quick to jump to that conclusion. Carl Tanzler was an immigrant originally from Dresden, Germany. He claimed that throughout his childhood, he was visited by visions of a long-lost relative who revealed to him the face of his true love, an exotic-looking woman with dark hair. No name, of course. Visions don't usually like to give names. In 1927, he took a job as a radiologist at a marine hospital in Key West, Florida, where he met Maria Elena Milagro de Hoyos. Hoyos was a Cuban-American woman who was regarded as a beauty by the locals. She was visiting the hospital for a simple examination, but when Tanzler saw her, he immediately recognized her as the woman in his visions. Thing is, Elena was dying. She was diagnosed with tuberculosis, a fatal disease at the time. In fact, many of Elena's family had died of the same illness. Tanzler took it upon himself to cure Elena, even going so far as to transport special hospital equipment and carry out medical treatments at her family's home. Even though he wasn't actually a doctor, despite his best efforts, Tanzler was unable to save her. Elena died in 1931, and Tanzler was kind enough to offer paying for the funeral arrangements himself. With permission from her family, he even commissioned the creation of an above-ground mausoleum, which he visited frequently. Buckle up, kids! This is the part where the bus takes a sharp left turn, straight into the heart of downtown what-the-f***ville. You see, Tanzler was so in love with Elena, he wasn't gonna let a stupid little thing like death get in the way. In 1933, 2 years after Elena's death, Tanzler decided he wanted his lover to stay a little closer to him. He stole her body from the mausoleum, carting it away to his home in a little wagon. From there, he started making a few repairs. Elena had been dead for 2 years after all, and dead bodies have a thing for decomposing. To maintain her body's structure, Tanzler had used coat hangers and piano wire to keep her bones together and stuffed her torso with rags to help keep her shape. Sounds like a fun date night. He replaced her eyes with glass and repaired her decaying skin with wax, fabric, and plaster. When her hair started to fall out, he collected it, made it into a wig, and plopped it back on her head. Also, dead bodies tend to smell really bad, so he masked it with disinfectant, formaldehyde, and perfume. He kept her in his own bed. He bought her clothes and jewelry, and even helped her dress. 'Cause corpses don't dress themselves. I hope. So why was Tanzler so dedicated to keeping her preserved? To add to another layer of weirdness, because apparently this ain't weird enough, Tanzler believed that if he could get Elena's corpse into space, cosmic radiation could rejuvenate her body and bring her back to life. And I can definitely confirm that cosmic rays really do work. Can you believe I look this good at 324 years old? Sponsor me, cosmic rays. For nearly 7 years, rumors circulated. People claimed to have seen Tanzler through the window of his home, dancing with a giant doll. The family was getting suspicious, and after a visit from Elena's sister, their worst fears were confirmed. That's not a f***ing doll. Tanzler was arrested and tried on the charges of destroying a grave and removing a body without authorization. The charges were eventually dropped after a preliminary hearing, and Tanzler was released because the statute of limitations for his crime had run out. Some people were even sympathetic toward Tanzler, seeing him as a very weird but hopeless romantic. Now I know the question you're probably asking yourselves at this point. Did he f*** the corpse? It's debatable? There was no evidence of necrophilia found at the time of the hearing, but they did find Elena's corpse had a tube down there. Make of that what you will. Why don't you have more subscribers, Vibby? Because I talk about corpse f***ing, that's why. Elena was finally buried in an unmarked grave where, hopefully, she's finally getting some peace. Carl Tanzler died in 1952, but his body wasn't discovered until 3 weeks after his death. And, unsurprisingly, found in his home was a life-size effigy of Maria Elena Milagro de Hoyos. So to all of you out there who are forever alone, I'll end this video on one question. Would you go so far as to f*** a corpse? Bad question, bad question, bad question. Don't answer that, don't answer that, don't answer that. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. This week's featured fan art is by the Seal Lord on Twitter. Link to the artist page is in the description. And here's some comments from the last video. If you found this episode disturbing, or even just a little bit interesting, please be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more stories like this one. If you're interested in supporting the channel, I have art commissions and a Ko-Fi page available. Buy me a coffee through there, and I'll make you a little sketch as a way of saying thanks. Links to all that, as well as links to my social media, are in the description. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you real soon.